So my name is Naomi Galindo. I am a senior here at K-State. I'll be graduating in May, and I'm studying French and International Studies. I'm also doing a primary tech certificate, so I'm really involved with that. I would say my primary focus is languages. I got an email from the Department of Competitive Scholarships. I had been in touch this summer with Dr. Jim Hohenberry. He sends me an email and tells me about alternative breaks, but the international service teams. Unfortunately, cannot go to those because I am a McNair scholar. So this summer I have to do my internship. So I couldn't go to Guatemala. That's the one I really wanted to do. Then I just kept browsing on the page and I saw alternative breaks, winter break. I saw Cherokee Nation. I'm like, that's it. That's my first choice. I want to go. And that's kind of the reason why I chose to do the Cherokee Nation alternative breaks. It was really dynamic. That's the best word I could describe it. We would wake up super early and then we would go to our site to work on construction. One of the things that we did was worked on a ramp for somebody who was lower income. It was a lot of work, but at the end of the day, it really was worth it because we changed somebody's life, or we were able to make it easier for somebody to to have access to get to their car, literally. Even though it's just short distance, it was easy to fix somebody's life that way. I was not expecting to have the language aspect of it, but it ended up happening. It's kind of hard to avoid it when you're in Oklahoma. You see Cherokee everywhere. Street signs are in Cherokee. You go to cultural centers, it's in Cherokee. You get to learn about the culture and the people. I was expecting to do a lot of community service. I was not expecting, like I mentioned earlier, learning about the culture along the way. That was something I was not really expecting. There are a lot of indigenous languages or native languages in the United States that don't have a lot of native speakers. So in the case of the Potawatomi Nation in Mayetta, Kansas, which is north of Topeka, made a contract with the Department of Modern Languages to offer Potawatomi. And I always tell people, there's Cherokee, there's Lakota, there's Potawatomi, Navajo. There's so many languages that exist that are indigenous that I feel are ignored. There are a lot of nations in the United States who are trying to what they call revitalize the language, or to be able to preserve it one way or another, starting initiative programs or resources. I have this advocacy page that I just started recently. I did an interview this past year with Language Connects Foundation. Now, when I went to Oklahoma, that changed because I'm okay, I definitely want to get more involved with the preservation of indigenous languages, not just in the United States, but there are other countries that are facing this problem where a lot of indigenous cultures are losing that culture, but they're trying to preserve it. And so in the Cherokee Nation, they started a program called Cherokee with Babies. In the language, there are adult classes, there's a online learning portal. In Wichita, they actually have free Cherokee classes. So they're trying to get that number up, and I think it's great that they're doing that and they're taking every initiative to preserve their language and culture. The Cherokee language I guess it's kind of special to me now, just because I was more exposed to it. I learned about it. I did get a lot of resources when I was there, so it was really cool having those resources for people to use. You can actually find it on their website. If you look up the Cherokee Nation, they have a section that's just dedicated to the language. But if you're thinking about going to Oklahoma, you're gonna be like, oh, Cherokee Nation, I wonder what's gonna be there. I think the unexpected is great. You think you know what you're getting yourself into, but you really don't. And I think that's what the reward is being able to just kind of go with the flow. I would say just go with the flow, and it changes your perspectives. And also, the biggest thing that overall that I believe we shared is that we changed a lot of lives. Probably a big butterfly effect. Maybe we did something small, but in the end, it's gonna be something great.